do have the parasympathetic nervous system. And like I said, we can use a lot of different ways, our breath among them, to help us to bring that parasympathetic nervous system on board. So when we are opening that stressful email, maybe instead of just habitually going, oh my gosh, I know it's going to be terrible, and opening the email, maybe we do a practice. Maybe we feel our feet on the ground. Maybe we take a deep breath. Maybe we go outside and feel the sun on our face. Maybe we do something to help us come back to our parasympathetic nervous system. And like I said earlier, the more we do these things, the more power they have and the more they can become that new neural pathway. The parasympathetic nervous system is, and polyvagal theory, like we talked about earlier, is based on the vagus nerve and vagal tone. The vagus nerve is the longest nerve in the body. It innervates from our brain all the way through all the other organs in our body and to all of our digestive and sex organs. It controls the digestion, the heart rate, the immune system. And it is that gut-brain connection. When people talk about the brain in the gut, this is what they're talking about. And this pathway, this connection, 80% or more of the information goes from the gut up to the brain. So the gut is kind of telling our brain what's going on in this system down here. And again, this is another reason yoga is very powerful with dealing with our immune system, our nervous system, and all the other issues that we have around physical, mental, and emotional health, is because it's bottom up. We start in the body. We do things that move the body. We talk about like exercises like building strong abs or something like that. In yoga, we do things where we compress the abdomen or we do some gentle twisting so that we're not just building up strong abs, but we're actually massaging those internal organs. We're helping to move those things through the intestines. We're helping to massage the lymphatic system and the lymph nodes and the lymphatic passageways that live in our abdomen when we do those kinds of movements. And even when we're breathing, we're massaging from the inside out. And this vagal nerve, we can tone just like those abdominal muscles by breathing, by doing intentional movements that touch our bodies in different ways, and by doing other practices that support vagal tone. And I'll get to that also. So many of you might have heard of heart rate variability. That is basically the ability of our vagal tone to be resilient. So when we practice yoga on the mat, we do something, maybe we do some planks or some sun salutations. We do some standing postures that are really foundational and building balance, something that might get our heart rate up. And then we bring it back down. We come back to the breath, we slow it down, and then maybe we bring it up again, and then we bring it down again. So we're actually training our nervous system. I can be activated, and then I can come back to neutrality. And so this is kind of how we titrate in talk therapy or other kinds of therapy. We just do a little bit at a time. So we're doing a little bit at a time, activating and then calming the nervous system. Low vagal tone is observed again in digestive disorders and inflammatory disease. That heart rate variability might be pretty low if you have that as well. And then to deepen your vagal tone, to strengthen it, the thing about yoga versus other kinds of physical exercise is that we're really intentional about it. we bring your attention to how does it feel as you rock from side to side, massaging your back body against the ground. How does it feel to expand your breath into your belly and then expand your breath into your heart? What if you do a little bit of self-massage? Notice how good that feels. Savor this experience. Look for the parts that make you go, ah. And then when you recognize those things on your yoga mat, you can more easily recognize those things off your yoga mat. Those little parts of your life that you can savor, like a warm cup of tea first thing in the morning, or your cat sitting on your lap, or opening up a brand new book, or something like that, that just feeds you and nourishes you down to your spirit. That right brain activity also does this. Other things to support the vagus nerve, because the vagus nerve comes from the brain all the way down to the digestive system and back, it has to go through the neck, and it innervates right here behind the ears. So things that cause any kind of vibration or movement in the throat physically tone that vagal nerve. Humming, singing, chanting like we do in yoga, gargling, doing asana practices or yoga postures where we tuck the chin and then open up the throat, physically moving the vagus nerve, which is also, of course, where the thyroid is. So it's thought that some movement here actually massages the thyroid. Pranayama practices, which is breathing practices in yoga. And then, like I said, focusing on the glimmers off and on your mat, things that spark joy. As biological creatures, we are physically designed for survival. That's what the whole fight flight system is for. And because of that, we are kind of biased to have this negativity bias. We're always looking for the threat. And that's how we are designed to be, because we want to protect ourselves. So it does take will and desire and a decision and a choice to focus on the things in our lives that are positive. And I'm not saying that there's not negative things. There are so many things out in this world, in your lives, in the lives of people we love and care about, that are not fun. And you can't just say, oh, just look at the silver lining. I mean, nobody wants to hear that. Or, oh, just take a deep breath. It doesn't, it's not helpful for anybody. It's just going to piss somebody off, probably. But taking a deep breath really does help. Focusing on the positive things really does help. Acknowledging what's going on that's difficult in our lives, being present with it, not ruminating on it, not practicing all these what ifs, but being present with your current experience and feeling safe in this present moment, and being able to acknowledge what's difficult while still being able to acknowledge what's positive can be so supportive for your overall health, not just your nervous system. And this is kind of the polyvagal theory in a diagram. And if you all want me to share this PowerPoint, it's only 10 slides. I'm more than happy to email it along over to Amy. This is not my diagram. I actually did borrow it from Stephen Porges, who is the who actually came up with the whole polyvagal theory. The 4 R's that we can do, like I said, recognize, be present, accept the current situation, respect what's going on in your body, and then regulate, deep breathing, movement, chanting, singing, dancing, whatever feeds you, whatever feeds your soul, and then restore, taking care of yourself, doing the things that support yourself, drinking plenty of water, eating good food, all of those things. So this is kind of the whole thing like I laid out before, where we've got the sympathetic nervous system, where we've got the fight or flight, When you're in the dorsal vagal parasympathetic nervous system, that's where we're in freeze or fawn mode. You'll see that in dissociation, people who say they just feel numb, depression, helplessness, shut down. This is where depression is. This is where that rumination and focusing on the past is. And then we've got that sympathetic response, like I said, the rage and the anger, and people who are always frustrated and irritated, or the fight, panic, running away, anxiety, constant worrying. And then we have the ventral vagal, where we feel safe, we feel connected to ourselves, we feel connected to our community. Another reason this group is really beneficial for one another here is your support of one another. That's a basic human need. And that's where we can find joy and being present and being compassionate to ourselves as well as to other people, not just to other people, but as well as to ourselves. And in yoga, thousands of years ago, before polyvagal theory, before Western culture decided this was even a thing, they had the gunas. And this was tamas, rajas, and sattva. And so this freeze or dorsal vagal response is tamasic. And when it is balanced, that means we're stable, we're grounded. When it's unbalanced, we're stagnant or stuck. And then we have rajasic, which is that person that's always activated. And when it's balanced and healthy, then we're mobile, we're ready to move, we're healthy and doing things and getting things done. But when it's not balanced, then it's anxiety. And sattva is that sattvic kind of equanimity that we all want to have, that ventral vagal response where we experience equanimity. We can be balanced. We can know that the highs come and the lows come, but at the end of the day, I'm sattvic. I know that this too shall pass kind of thing, and I will meet it with presence and with my full and complete self. But we can get a little disembodied or a little up in our heads when we aren't balanced in that area.